We're singing. We're singing.
Dun, 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 dun.
Time to talk.
All right.
Beauty and the Bitch.
Yeah.
Mick.
Mug.
I'm so glad to talk to you because I really need someone to go swimsuit shopping with me. Please say that you'll go.
Oh, swimsuit shopping?
Yeah. Listen.
I don't know, girl. Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know.
What, are you like busy or do you just like have body image issues? Like what's wrong with you?
Well, okay, we're just gonna have this conversation then. It's not that I'm self-conscious about my body. I mean, well, yes, I am, but that's not the reason.
Uh-huh.
I'm kind of self-conscious about your body.
What?
Specifically, no, this is not fat shaming. This is specifically, well, you have those two tiny, like, chicken wing looking arms.
Yeah.
That you normally keep hidden underneath your clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I love you as a person, a friend, and a woman. I do not love your tiny, disfigured chicken arms that are hidden underneath your clothing most of the time.
Wow. This is really hard to hear coming from you, especially because it's really hard to tie those swimsuits with those little arms on the way. And I just feel like you're not being a good friend.
You're right. I'm so sorry. I would love to go swimsuit shopping with you, but even more so, I would love to introduce this episode. Welcome back to another episode of Beauty and the Bitch. I am Mick, who loves to tie swimsuits around tiny, disfigured chicken arms.
And I'm Morgan, said chicken arms.
That tickles me so. I'm so glad you don't have two tiny. For the record, though, Morgie, I would still love you. And if you really did have a third and fourth tiny arm hidden underneath, I would absolutely still tie your swimsuit around it.
That is so sweet. I always knew you as a good friend.
I'm a secret good friend. Do you know what I mean? Like, so secret you can't even tell.
That's the way I like it. I love secrets.
So, this might be a deep cut. People probably don't even know what the hell we're referring to, actually, in this episode.
Only people who are rewatching The Dark Crystal to get ready for the Netflix show.
Exactly. It's obvious to those people, but for everyone else, we're talking about The Dark Crystal today. We're really talking about the original movie, which, oh shit, girl, do you know what year it came out? I did not write that down. God, I'm the worst.
1982.
1982. Okay, only 10 years after you were born, 1982. No, way before either of us were born, but a really good movie, a classic Jim Henson fantasy puppet, dark, scary sort of fantasia. Did you watch Dark Crystal when you were little, Morgie?
Yeah, absolutely. Not when I was like, I don't think I saw it when I was like a child, but I saw it in my adolescence at some point. And I have to tell you that I didn't love this movie. And I think it's one of those things that I always just said that I liked aloud because it was like a cult classic. But I rewatched the trailer and did like a little research to get ready for today because I didn't have time to watch the movie again. And I have to tell you, I didn't love what I was seeing and what I was remembering. And quite honestly, what a fucking nightmare to make.
I empathize with that, girl. And I feel like it must have been especially hard for you to see yourself mirrored on screen in the Skeksis so viciously, you know?
Okay. Yes, they're as fuck. But I was wondering what other people thought about the movie, so I googled to see what the other reception was, and shockingly high ratings for The Dark Crystal, and only your girl thinks that it's a horrible nightmare. Everybody else is like, Jim Henson, such genius, and like, yeah, it probably is, but why is it so scary?
You know, weren't there quite a few like scary didn't scary fantasy movies in the 80s, to finish my thought. Didn't The Neverending Story come out around the same time?
Yes, it did. And it has that very early 80s like sort of scary fantasy vibe going, but just layered on top of that is just really cool puppets, but also like it's a movie of fucking puppets. Like, can you imagine if Star Wars was just Yoda? Like, it's, to me it's a little bit like that. And like, what was our obsession with puppets? I mean, I know we're still doing the Sesame Street thing today, but like in the 80s, we like fucking loved puppets.
You know what I really genuinely think is it's because we couldn't, tech-wise, we couldn't do these amazing, beautiful effects like we can today. And so I think they went this other way of like, okay, well, if we can't actually make, you know, whatever, like make CGI that looks really good, we're gonna just make the whole world, and that way everything will look cohesive, and we can make it look crazy and different and strange. I really think it's because they couldn't do it any other way, honestly.
That makes sense.
But wasn't that kind of like that? This was like Jim Henson's heyday in a way, wasn't it? I mean, when Dark Crystal came out, early 80s, he was like a big deal at the time.
He surely was. And he also co-directed this with Frank Oz, who famously is the
wizard
behind Yoda.
Oh, behind Yoda?
Yeah, and many other famous puppets that are not. He's like the other person that's not Jim Henson that's famous for puppets.
Oh, you know what? You can tell I'm not a puppet master because I sure did. I had never heard of Frank Oz before I started doing research on this, and I didn't know that until you just said it right now. So there you go.
And I bet it's because you're just not a Star Wars person, and like he's just really famous for that. But I would love to hear. I want to hear how you feel about the Dark Crystal because you rewatched it.
I did rewatch it, and okay, well, let me say, first of all, like I said, I empathize with your childhood feelings about it, because I felt similar. Like, I saw it probably when I was like, yeah, like a young adolescent, like maybe 11, 12, 13. And I liked it in that it was like fantasy and it was weird, but I never loved it. Like, it never became part of like the zeitgeist for me, I guess,
Yeah,
like
I felt like we were just like a little bit too old. Like, Neverending Story still hooked us, but like only barely.
Oh, girl, no, Neverending Story is deep in my brain. That was one of my favorite childhood movies. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I'm Googling when it came out.
Oh, no, I was taking a good old drink of coffee, so it's okay. No, Neverending Story, well, okay, we maybe saw it when we were maybe too old, or maybe we just saw it at a bad time, because I will tell you, I rewatched it just like 2 weeks ago, right? And I really appreciated it a lot more as an adult, because I could appreciate the artistry and the details. Now, the story I still think is pretty confusing, and the plot, I mean, no tea, no shade, but it's kind of slow. Even with all the beauty, it's kind of slow. And the Skeksis are still scary as fuck. That sure has not changed. Those little chicken winged ass Skeksis. I'm frightened.
Do you think the story was a little bit weak? Like, it feels like the production is really high, like they spent a lot of time and effort, but like the story feels like they try to make it complicated by using a bunch of like made up fantasy words and shit, but that it was pretty basic.
Well, you know what is, yes, I do think, well, yes, I agree and I don't agree, because here's what I found in my research, and I might be spoiling the dinner right now because you may have found this too, but when they first did the movie, the Skeksis and the Uru, who are these two races that live in Thra, which is the world it's set in, they actually spoke made-up languages that were based on ancient Greek and ancient Egyptian, and they were subtitled. All of their lines were subtitled.
Oh.
And they did the first viewing in like, I don't know, probably LA. I think it was LA. And audiences like fucking hated it. They ripped that shit to bits. And so then they went back and they got rid of all the subtitled stuff and the made up languages for the most part. And they tried to make it more clear because also audiences couldn't tell what the hell was going on. And
Interesting.
like, and honestly, Queen, even having seen it as a child and then rewatching it, it wasn't until I went to the Dark Crystal wiki and started really researching that I understood the basic plot. And I do think that is a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a problem.
So when did Neverending Story come out?
1984, so 2 years after Dark Crystal.
Oh, okay. 1982, 1984. Oh, interesting. Interesting. But you know what? I mean, here's the thing. With the Skeksis, I think that Dark Crystal is darker than Neverending Story. Um, did you ever see Black Cauldron?
Yes, that wasn't a puppet thing though, was it?
No, that was animated, but it was pretty dark too, and I think that came out, I don't know. You don't have to Google it, but that's another dark children's movie. Oh, or what about Brave Little Toaster? That was dark as shit too,
Ooh,
and that
yeah,
came out in the 80s, I think.
that was the 80s, yeah. And then Labyrinth, of course, came out in the 80s.
Oh, of course. And that, of course, that was also puppety. That was Jim Henson puppety. And
Uh,
it was dark as fuck too. With
yeah,
that old
it came out
pedophile
in
David Bowie.
1986, so 4 years after Jim Henson tackled this movie.
Wow. It was a dark time for children's movies, I guess.
I guess that's the
Wow.
80s, yo.
You know what? I blame Reagan. I think it's all Reagan's fault.
I love,
Anyway, well, oh, I'm sorry. What did you say?
I love it. Blame Reagan for all your problems.
Oh, I really do. He's like one of my least favorite presidents of all time. It's not what this podcast is about, but for the record, when people are dying of AIDS all around you, it would behoove you to fucking say something about it and not let those people die. Whatever, Reagan. I'm not mad he got Alzheimer's, and I'll say it.
Ooh,
Yeah,
hot.
I know. I know, girl. That's a hot take. That's even like a cruel thing to say, but I hate him, so whatever.
Be yourself. Live your truth.
Yeah, I'm just mad at him. I'm forever mad at him. Anyway, now, Morgie, so did, if you want, I can try to give you a short synopsis of the plot. I'll do my best if you're
Yeah.
interested in that.
Yeah, let's do a short synopsis.
Okay, let's not time it, but I'll be fast, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, here's the basic rundown. Before the movie actually opens, what happens is these crazy ass loser aliens come to Thra, okay? They're called Skeksis, okay? And they're like, they glow and shit. They're kind of angelic, but like, they got kicked out of their own society because they were fallen, quote unquote, okay? So essentially, they're like goddamn demons who done fell to Earth. And they stay on Earth, Thra, the Earth, the Earth of the world, for about 1,000 years. 999 years and one trine. Whatever a fucking trine is. I have no idea. And then what happens is, every 1,000 years, more or less, the three suns of the world of Thra come together, and they shine through the eponymous dark crystal. And I don't know, girl, it gives you a real bad sunburn or some kind of shit. The light does some kind of goddamn thing to them. And what they're trying to do, right, before the movie opens, before it starts, is they try to cleanse themselves of impurities so they can go back to their original land, okay? But girl, something went wrong. There was one Urskek who had madness in his heart. Maybe he was mad about Ronald Reagan. I don't know. But when the light doesn't shine through the dark crystal, instead of going back to their land, they got split in very Jekyll and Hyde into the evil Skeksis and the good but very lame Uru, who are these two races. Okay, so I'm sorry, that's not even the movie. That's really before the movie. But I think you need to know that because
Yeah, and that'll play a big part in the prequel, which is going to be the show.
absolutely, yes. So, okay, so the movie opens on this little fella by the name of Jin, who's this little gelfling, which is like an elf, essentially. It's essentially an elf, but they call him gelflings. And Jin he thinks he's the very last of his race. And he was adopted by the leader of the Uru, who are the nice aliens. And he's raised by them. And there's this prophecy that he's going to find this chunk of the dark crystal, which then they can use the dark crystal to meld the two races back together, and then they'll be the Urskeks again, and they'll be good, and they can finally fucking leave Thra and leave these people in peace and go back to their own community, right? But the Skeksis, who are these, I mean, they're some Morgan-ass looking motherfuckers. What? What did I say? No,
Rude.
they are, it is rude because they are like, originally when they split, they were like colorful and agile, and they had 4 arms, and they had wings, and they were never nice, but they at least used to be beautiful. But 1,000 years have passed, and these motherfuckers are decrepit, vulture-ass, nasty, berobed, power-hungry, bad teeth. I mean, ooh, girl, they're just nasty. Just sick. Very Ronald Reagan-esque, if I might say. Naturally. And the Uru they're like sweeter looking, but to be perfectly honest with you, it's been 1,000 years for them too, and they're not really looking too good either, okay? And they move so fucking slow. They're the slowest thing that ever lived, okay? And they have 4 arms too, but over the time, their second pair of arms have drooped, and now they drag on the ground like they're fucking great apes or some shit. And the Skeksis are like materialistic, and the Uru are like, desert hermit type people. And the Skeksis heard that Jin was going to find this chunk of the dark crystal, and he was going to meld them back together. And the Skeksis don't want that, because if they can live through one more conjunction, which is what they call, not conjunctivitis, Morgan, that's what you have.
My eyeballs.
Yes, in your eyeballs. It's not conjunctivitis, it's a great conjunction. When the 3 suns come together, and this time, if the Skeksis can take in the light through their eyeballs, which we see them doing in the very first shot of the movie, it's extremely scary, it will make them immortal, and they'll rule the world of Thra forever, right? Naturally, like you do when you take in the light from the dark crystal. Duh.
All the time.
Yeah, all the time. But if Jin can get this chunk of the dark crystals that the Skeksis done knocked out of it, pop it back in this dark crystal, and the slow as motherfucking fuck Uru can get to the dark crystal in time, which really I think is the most difficult part of the whole damn thing, because I don't know if y'all haven't seen these movies, these are some, I mean, damn, so like Ents-like. If you know Lord of the Rings, they are the Ents of this world, okay? They are slow. Anyway, but if they can get there on time, this great conjunction will cause the Skeksis and the Uru to come back together. Okay, so Jin's out there looking. He's looking for this chunk of dark crystal. He sees a lot of scary things. He sees a lot of nice things. He meets this crazy old bitch named Agra, who I actually like a lot. And she's a weird character we might return to. And she helps him. She gives him some dark crystal pieces. And he picks out the right one somehow. I don't remember how. Who gives a fuck? And then he meets this other little girl, this little slice. Ooh, her name is Kira.
Mm-hmm.
And, and she's the only other Gelfling who is left. And let me tell you, she is fuckable. She's hot. Yes. I mean, Jin, I guess, is an attractive Gelfling, whatever. But Kira has this long blonde hair, and she can talk to the Landstryers. She'd be like, boop, 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 and the Landstryers come running over the land. They're these big things with long legs. Oh, they're a made-up creature. And anyway, so Kira helps him, and then they go on to where the dark crystal is, and the Skeksis send these things called Garthim after them, which are these big, I don't know, they look like crabs or beetles or something. Whatever. They're another made-up creature. They're not nice, though, and they sure do break through a wall like nobody's business. They have no problem with that. And so Jin and Kira are kind of falling in love, but they also know they have to do this dark crystal thing. Oh, and by the way, the Skeksis murdered their entire race. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, it's called the Gartham War, and literally exterminated all the Gelflings. And so anyway.
Genocide?
Yeah, sure enough, genocide. Yes, girl. Killed those little Gelflings in their homes. Yes, they did. And so then these 2 little Gelflings, they get to the Dark Crystal Palace, and the Skeksis are running around being stupid because they're not very bright, even though they're quite strong. And then, they capture Kira and they suck out her life force, and it's very sad. It is very sad, I will say. Because you see, the Skeksis, not only do they get power from the Dark Crystal, or like life force to extend their life, but they also have found this way to suck the life force out of the little natives. The Gelflings and the little, what are they called? Like pod people or some shit. Some little loser, lame-ass people. Too tiny to really matter. And so Kira is dead. Girl, she is dead. And then little Jin, he jumps and he goes kerchink, and he puts the chunk of the Dark Crystal back in the Dark Crystal.
Nailed
and
it.
Holly, he did. He nailed that shit. He's the Michael Jordan of Thra, honey. That boy's an athlete. And then the light shines down, and the Oru come in. They're chanting. They're like, ho-wee-oh, or whatever they say. And then they meld back with the Skeksis, and then somehow Kira comes back to life. I don't know, girl. That part's confusing for me. Yeah, I think the Dark Crystal does it somehow. And then they're back to being Urskeks, and then they fucking jet out of there because they're finally whole again and whatever. And they go back, and then everything's great. And I suppose Kira and Jin fuck, I would imagine, but they don't show that, And that's the damn movie, honey.
What's up? So, I couldn't quit thinking about now as an adult while rereading through the synopsis and like doing some research is they kept calling it like the crystal shard, like the chunk of crystal, and the show / manga Inuyasha is all about these jewel shards, and I couldn't quit thinking about Inuyasha and how great that is, and how they just needed to bring their jewel back together too.
I think they should. I think, you know what? I had completely forgotten that Inuyasha even existed, but that would be a great thing to turn into like a mini series.
Oh yeah,
I think that would be amazing.
I think so.
All I can remember of Inuyasha really is the main girl being like, Inuyasha!
Yeah.
Inuyasha!
That's
all I
Kagome.
remember.
She's got emotions.
Kagome. Isn't there some... Yeah, mostly anger. You're right. She is angry. Well, to be fair to her, she got sucked into this crazy-ass fantasy world, and Inuyasha's quite the rogue.
Yeah, and he loves her, but he pretends like he doesn't, so it's hard.
And he's kind of fuckable, even though he's half animal and also a cartoon.
Yup. 100%.
Well, yeah, it's a similar, I mean, in that way, it's similar, except there's only one shard in this case.
Right.
And the Skeksis broke it out on purpose because they wanted to say Skeksis forever. It's kind of like when you're depressed and you're sitting on your couch covered in crumbs and you're like, I hate myself, but I never want this to end, you know?
Yep.
That's like essentially the Skeksis' whole existence, you know? They know they're shit, but they don't want to stop being shit. Which, you know, I stand. I feel it. So Morgie, as I said, I did a deep dive into the wiki, the Dark Crystal wiki, and I pulled together a little game based on the 10 members of each race. Now, originally there were 18 members, and I think we'll see some of the members of the races in this new Netflix show because it is a prequel to the movie. But when the movie opens, there are only 10 members left, and they each have like titles, okay? And I don't know, this might be lame, but I thought it's almost kind of like a quiz where I give you the two titles, I don't tell you which is which, and you tell me which you would rather be of the two titles, and then I'll tally it up, and I'll tell you if you're more Skeksi or more Uru, okay?
Hi.
Okay? And let's just be honest, we both know you're a Skeksi, but we'll just do it just to see, okay?
Let's see.
Oh, I'm totally a Skeksi. I'm so sad. Okay, Morgie, would you rather be a chanter or a chamberlain?
What's a chamberlain do?
I can't. Now, if I tell you too much, you'll be able to guess it. But the chamberlain's like a court. It's like a court role, and he is in charge of like isn't he kind of like a right hand man to a king or emperor? I think he is.
I would be that one.
Okay. Interesting. Would you rather be a cook or a gourmand?
A gourmand.
Okay. Interesting. Just as I thought. Would you would you rather be a weaver or an ornamentalist?
Ooh, a weaver.
Okay, I'm kind of shocked because ornamentalist, that's what I want to be. But whatever, you be yourself. Would you rather be a numerologist or a treasurer?
Ooh, a numerologist.
Yeah, me too. To me, that's obvious. Who wants to be a fucking treasurer, girl? That doesn't sound fun at all. But a numerologist? Okay. Would you rather be a scroll keeper or a scribe?
Scroll keeper. I have
Okay.
terrible handwriting.
That's true. And you're dusty.
Yeah.
Okay, these two are similar, but would you rather be a ritual master or a ritual guardian?
Guardian.
Okay. Now, I don't know why these two are like paired, but would you rather be a slave master or an herbalist?
Herbalist?
Yeah, I think that's a slam dunk right there. Okay, would you rather be a scientist or an alchemist?
An alchemist.
Good choice. Would you rather be... This one's funny because it kind of gives it away. Would you rather be a Gartham master or a healer?
A Gartham master.
Really?
I don't
Girl,
know.
you don't even remember what a Gartham is. How you going to be a master of something you don't know?
Bitch, if I'm the master, it don't matter.
Fair enough. Impeccable logic. And last but not least, would you rather be a master or an emperor?
A master.
Wow, I am so shocked, Morgie. Okay, so I kind of bounce back and forth, but you are 60% Uru and only 40% Skeksis.
Wow, shocking.
I am so shocked. I was sure you're going to be 90-10 Skeksis. I mean,
Is that what you are?
You know what? Actually, okay, wait. Say something intelligent and I'll do it for myself real fast. Because I didn't do it. Sure. I'll do it real fast.
You know what? We'll take this interlude to tell our dear listeners a little bit more about Inuyasha in case they don't know what that is or if they should watch it. It's actually available on Hulu, and what it is a great anime show. It's like real fucking long, like many hundreds of episodes, and it's based off of this manga written by Rumiko Takahashi.
Girl, look at you!
Yeah, she's a really renowned writer, and it's really great. But it's basically this story of Kagome, who has an ancestral link to feudal Japan, but also a fantastical feudal Japan, not like modern, not like, the real world. And there's a well on her family's property, and she falls through it one day and passes through to feudal Japan, where she meets Inuyasha, who is half dog demon, half human, and he is on a quest to re-find all of the Shikon jewel shards, because the Shikon jewel was shattered and the shards were strewn across the land. And so she joins him and his friends on his quest, and she loves him, and he actually loves her ancestor, which is a real touch and go point for their relationship, because she died, so she's dead as fuck. So Kagome's all he can have in the flesh, and it's a problem. And then there's lots of really great characters, and man, it's just a really fucking good anime. There's like 4 movies, and the movies are really fucking good. Just like really classic shit. And yeah, go check it out on Hulu.
Wow. Now, Morgan, don't you lie to me. Have you been rewatching that to remember all those details?
Oh, no, I haven't. I've just seen it many times, and I own all the movies on DVD, which is a thing that the young people used to watch. It's a little disc that you insert into a machine, and it displays the movie on the TV for you. And when I was in high school and college, I watched them like dozens of times because they're just like really rewatchable. And I just really love Inuyasha. It's just one of my favorite things.
You know, little known fact, DVD stands for Damned Video Dragon.
I
A
believe
lot,
fact.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know that, but I learned that in science school. Anyway, so I took the quiz while you were regaling them with tales of Inuyasha, which legit blew me away. And I don't want you to feel bad about yourself. You were 60% Uru. I'm 70% Uru. So I'm like just a little bit better than you.
I think it's fixed.
No, it's not. Look, the thing is, I chose to be an ornamentalist, which is a Skeksis like title. And I also with you chose Gourmand and Chamberlain because those are badass titles. But like you, I went down the way with like Weaver, Numerologist, Ritual Guardian, Herbalist, Master, Healer. I mean, Alchemist. Those are just better. And those are all Uru because they're more like natural medicine. And the Skeksis are more like science, technology, court position type things. So that's like how it breaks up. But you know what's interesting about the Uru is they can actually affect nature via song. So they can like cause storms to happen or stop earthquakes or make waterfalls stop flowing. And I'm hoping we'll get to see more of their type of magic in the Age of Resistance, which is coming out on August 30th on Netflix.
Yeah, and that's the whole impotence for why we're even talking about the Dark Crystal is this Netflix prequel that's going to come out, and it's obviously not going to be done with puppets. So not only are they giving us a whole new story, but it's got a whole new vibe.
Mm-hmm. Wait, did you say it's not going to be done with puppets?
No, did you watch the trailer?
No, it totally is done with puppets.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it is. You're so crazy. I think it is. Am I wrong?
Let me look at this again.
I feel like I've literally seen the three puppets because the plot follows three gelflings who, now this is already when the Skeksis and the Uru have come into existence. So this is sometime, we don't know exactly. I did try to find out, but they haven't said. It's sometime in the 1,000 years, more or less, between when they split up and when the Dark Crystal movie happens. And it's the three gelflings trying to incite rebellion in their society against the Skeksis, assumedly because they realize the Skeksis are like eating their life essence or something, I guess.
Wikipedia, which is always factual, says it's a mix of puppets and CGI.
Oh, okay. Well, that is a different feel because you know what? I actually thank you so much for saying that because I was all excited because I was like, oh, it's going to be all practical effects, but I guess not.
Well, that's crazy to me because I watched the trailer and I thought it was all CGI, and maybe it was because I watched it on my cell phone, but like I didn't even notice that it was puppets. That's crazy. Yeah.
Well, I watched it on my iWatch and I knew. No, that's not true. Well, maybe, you know what? Maybe they're taking the puppets and then overlaying CGI. Kind of like, it's not, I'm sorry for this tangent, but did you see the Cats trailer?
Oh my God! What a nightmare!
It's different because they're real people, but they did like makeup and costume and then overlaid CGI on top of that.
It looks like
so, you know what? It does look like shit, but girl, I just stand Cats. I've been singing Memory to myself all day while I've been driving in this van. And look, maybe it's horrible, but I'm still excited about it. I just like Cats. I don't give a shit. And T.S. Eliot is my favorite poet. So, this is a hot take. This is like my Ronald Reagan deserved Alzheimer's hot take, but I think Cats looks good. So,
but they need people like you because 99% of the internet is like, let's read this to filth and talk about all the problems.
Which is fair, but you know what, Queen? I would watch that horrible CGI Cats over this fucking live action Lion King bullshit any day of the week.
Yeah, I have not made any moves to see live action Lion King, and probably, I don't know if I ever will see it.
I'm so angry about, well, I think we even talked about this last week when we recorded, but I'm just angry. And right now, that live action Lion King is getting it for me. I'm just so mad about it. It's so stupid. Did you know also, I was doing some research, and The Lion King is not a Disney original story. Have you heard about this?
No.
There was, I forgot the name. There is a Japanese anime, and it's called like Tengu the White Lion or something. I'm looking it up right now. And it is essentially the exact Lion King story, which is kind of the Hamlet story. But even more than that, like specific scenes and shots were stolen from the anime. Let me see. White Lion, Japan. I'm looking it up right now. And, Disney waited until the inventor of this, Kimba. Oh yeah, that's another thing. It's called Kimba the White Lion. They didn't even change the goddamn name. I mean, they changed it from Kimba to Simba, but it's literally the exact same story. There's a Scar character, there's a Mufasa character, there's a red-ass baboon.
This is shocking.
Yeah. Y'all, everybody look it up. Kimba the White Lion existed way before The Lion King, and Disney was all, this is everything that Disney stands for, a completely original story. Meh, 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 meh. And, I mean, I love the original Lion King, but
I'm just mad. One letter.
I know! And literally, I don't know if he's actually, I have to be honest, I haven't watched Kimba the White Lion. I don't like this type of animation, but I'm looking at, from 1965 to 1967, it was broadcast on Fuji Television. And then in 1997, they did a movie adaptation, Jungle Emperor Leo, and Disney hit them with a copyright lawsuit.
No.
Yes! Disney. You mother... Oh, God, it makes me mad.
That's bold.
Anyway, it is. Anyway, back to old Dark Crystal. I'm sorry, I took us on that. But when I found that out, I about shit my pants, girl.
Girl, I'm also looking at screenshots, and the villain in Kimba, his name is Claw, and he has a distinctive scar on his left eye and 2 hyena henchmen.
Girl! I cannot believe it!
Oh my God! We stole Kimba!
Girl, it's the most evil thing that happened since Ronald Reagan refused to mention AIDS people. AIDS people. What a thing to say. You know what I mean. People dying of AIDS.
Oh, so funny.
Disney equals Ronald Reagan, and they all deserve Alzheimer's. How about that? I'm going to double down. How's that?
In 4.5 minutes, Disney's going to own both of your kidneys, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. They own everything.
Girl, that's fine. My kidneys and my lugs, they're both black. It don't matter. It does not matter. I'm furious right now. I'm trying to breathe through it because I know it's not fun to listen to people scream on a podcast. Ooh, okay. Anyway.
Maybe they're screaming at home about Kimba versus Simba because that's how we feel.
It is infuriating. And I feel personally betrayed. Well, it sounds so silly and melodramatic, but Lion King is my favorite Disney movie, or was. I'm now kind of like, I don't even know if it's like sullied for me now, At least the music was original. At least that's one thing. And the music is like the best part. So,
Very good music.
Yeah. Okay, so Age of Resistance, girl, I think that it's going to chronicle the Gartham War and the genocide of the Gelfling people. That's my best guess.
That's dark.
It is dark. And I'm interested to see how dark this upcoming series is, kind of in response to what seems to be very dark subject matter. Because we know for sure that the 3 Gelfling main cast members are trying to incite rebellion against the Skeksis. So already, that's like some dark political intrigue kind of plot,
Yeah. I'm looking at the cast lineup, too, and there's a ton of really well-known people doing voice acting. Many people from Game of Thrones.
Yes. I saw that Lena Headey is one of them, right?
And Natalie Dormer, who was Marjorie Tyrell.
Oh, I saw her name and I was like, where do I know that name? Oh, badass Marjorie Tyrell. Helena Bonham-Carter is lending her voice.
Eddie Izzard.
Mm-hmm. Andy Samberg.
Cool.
Oh.
Is that right?
No, it is. No, it is right. No, it is right. I thought you had another one. I was like, wow, More, you really let me down here.
I was gonna say Katarina Balfe, who is the main chick from Outlander. She's voicing.
Girl, you just made up that name, Katarina Balfe. Okay.
She's foreign.
Oh wait, Katarina Balfe. That's the sister of Destiny Dupapu, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what? Fuck you.
Yeah. They both dated Joe Mayonnaise in high school.
Definitely. Kieran Edgerton looks like he's the main character.
Where do I know that name from?
I think he just played Elton John in Rocket Man.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I saw that Aquafina from Crazy Rich Asians is lending her voice too.
She's the best.
I fucking love her.
Yeah.
I love her.
She's in another movie that's playing in theaters right now called The Farewell. It's another Asian-centric movie, and it has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, is that going to fall over time? I'm not implying that it should, but, like, that's rare. Do those things normally go down over time?
Been out for a while.
Really? Well, good for them.
I actually don't know. I can't remember if Taron Egerton is the Rocket Man guy. Now that I look at him a little better, he's definitely from the Kingsman: The Secret Service, if you saw that. But he might also
didn't.
Be Rocket Man.
Okay.
I don't care enough to click, but he's a person.
Well, I don't. Have we mentioned already? Mark Hamill is doing a voice.
We didn't.
Mm-hmm. He is playing Skeksis the scientist, who is a Skeksis who's actually killed by Kira in the original Dark Crystal movie. So, spoilers, he dies 1,000 years later or something.
Happens to everyone.
I mean, eventually, except me. I'm going to be young and beautiful forever.
Okay, girl.
It's because I steal the life force of lesser beings.
Well, that makes sense then.
It's worth it. And I know that Agra, and if you remember, do you remember Fizzgig from the Dark Crystal movie?
I remember that name, but I don't know why.
He is, essentially, he's like Kira's dog, but he's like a little ball of fluff with like huge teeth, essentially. And I don't know if there's more to his story, really. I think he's just like a friend of Kira's, but somehow he's alive like hundreds of years earlier. So I don't know what is going on with him, but he's going to be in the 10 episode prequel as well. Agra's really cool though, because she's like this like, I don't know, orc ass looking 3-eyed grumble monster thing, and she is kind of like the personification of the whole planet, is what it said on the wiki. So like she's like an eternal being, and she has a son who she molded out of a living meteorite. Okay, go with me on that. And he might be in this upcoming prequel because he's alive and very much like active during like the Gartham War and the extermination of the Gelflings. So he might be a new character, but I didn't see him in the character list, but maybe they're keeping it secret. You know how Netflix likes to do.
Yeah, they do like to keep things under wraps, so it'll be interesting to see how it rolls out.
Oh, those little useless motherfuckers are called podlings. Podlings. They live underground and play bad folk music.
Okay, that's where I want to live.
Well, yeah, I shouldn't talk so much shit about them because they seem like the sweetest people on the whole planet, so I should be nicer, but I don't know. They're kind of lumpy looking. I'm not really into it. They look kind of like Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yeah, but I love Cabbage Patch Kids.
Well, I mean, you are what you eat.
Well, that's true.
That doesn't make sense. That's senseless.
You eat babies.
Oh no, you eat babies.
Yeah.
I just suck out their life force to say this young and beautiful, you see.
Oh, well, that does. Yeah. Okay, I can get on board with that. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Things track. Well, I mean, I don't know, Morgie. Since you weren't a big fan of Dark Crystal, do you think this is a good project for Netflix to take on, or like, what's your excitement level? Because I think you and I both are part of the what's it called? The audience,
Target.
the target audience, target
Yeah.
demographic. Yes, thank you.
I'm definitely not gonna tune in right off the bat, but if like a bunch of people who I trust opinions of are like, oh, it's really good, you should see it, then maybe I will. But there's just so much good TV to watch that it's like, for me, it's not high on my priority list, but I would do it if other people said it was great.
Okay. I feel a bit more excited than you do. I guess I just want to see. Well, for one thing, I'm excited about all those voice actors. Like, that's an amazing lineup of voice actors.
It is.
And most of the best ones, like Andy Samberg is also playing a Skeksis, which I'm super excited for, actually. I think, I could be wrong, but I think Harvey Firestein's playing a Skeksis. I think Eddie Izzard is too.
Nice.
So, like, yeah, so I don't know, there's a lot of star power to it. And, I mean, you know, if I could find some place to get some green, which is significantly harder where I live now, I think this would be a good show to just light up a bowl and just, like, you know, live your best life, watch some puppets doing shit.
Definitely could be.
I'm also excited to see the Uru and the Skeksis younger, and I hope that they show them being more, like, vibrant and agile and, like, powerful, because that's something that kind of irritated me about the original. Is I've gone on and on about the Uru being slow because, oh my god, they are. They're like a fucking peanut butter river walking across the fucking planet. But the Skeksis are slow as hell too in their giant ass robes. So I would like to see them a bit more lively. You know, I think that'd be interesting.
Well, they'll definitely have a bigger budget than they had the first time around doing this with Netflix.
Mm-hmm. And it's a mini series technically, I think.
Yeah, it's like 10 episodes, I think.
So unless it's like a huge, like, Stranger Things-esque hit, there probably won't be a sequel to this miniseries. But who knows? I mean, it might really, especially because of the political sort of underpinnings of the prequel, it might really take off, and we might be in for 4 years of fucking Dark Crystal prequels. I don't know. I wouldn't be pissed. If it's good, it's good, you know?
Well, we'll definitely see how this one goes, and if it's at all good, they'll make another one.
That's true. That's true. I don't know. I mean, right now I'm doing that thing where I make a fake account so I can get Netflix free for 30 months because 30 months. I'm in 30 days. I wish I could get it free for 30 months, but I got to this place where I was like, girl, I've watched everything possible on Netflix, so I just canceled that shit. But now, first they came out with Stranger Things, which I had to watch, and then they came out with old Tales of the City, which we're going to be covering in an episode here. And now they're coming out with this Dark Crystal prequel. So I think sooner or later they're going to catch on to my scam, and I'm going to just have to start paying for the shit again.
Well, just keep making new email addresses.
I think they recognize your device. I've heard. Yeah, they're on to me. Because I sure will go through Gmail. I'll do 14,000 Mick Parker 1, Mick Parker 2s. But, yeah, but I think they know your device, sadly. So, fuck you, Netflix. Give me what I want for free with no strings attached.
Yeah, give us what we want when we want it for free.
Yes, these old Ronald Reagan motherfuckers.
That's what you should write to them, you old Ronald Reagan motherfuckers.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking make an AIDS quilt and send it to your headquarters.
Ooh, jeez. So chic.
Oh, chic or full of tragedy? I mean, potato, I guess, actually.
Both. They're not both.
I don't know. If someone, like, actually, like, of course, no one will ever cut up the AIDS quilt. If they do, they should also get Alzheimer's. But if someone was like, oh, I bought you a portion of the AIDS quilt, I don't think I would want to put that on my bed. Like, maybe I would hang it as if it was like a tapestry. But, like, you are literally staying warm with the memory of horrible tragedy and young gay lives snuffed out too soon. So, like, I don't know. You being 40% Skeksy, like, maybe you could do that, but I'm
I'm
only
40,
30%.
yeah, I'm 40% likely to sleep with that blanket.
Yeah. Oh, fuck you, Ronald Reagan. Okay. Golly. Okay, well, I feel like I've kind of shot my load. I thought I had more to say, but I guess I maybe talked too fast. I had too much caffeine.
No, girl, it's been almost an hour, so I think we're doing just
Oh,
fine.
shut your mouth. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, more. I just love talking to you. Time goes so fast.
I know. I think it's a great time to wrap it up. And I have a little plug that I'll bring back up again in case people need something else when they're done catching up on the Dark Crystal.
Ooh.
I'm just gonna go back to Inuyasha because I just remembered it was on Hulu, and now I like low-key might start watching it again casually at some point. Maybe when I'm done with King of the Hill, which will be in 3 years.
Oh my God. You know what, girl? Did you start watching King of the Hill because I talked about it so much, or was I not part of that?
No, you were telling me about it, and I didn't even know it was on Hulu. And that's why we started watching it. And now we're on season 6, but I think there's like 12 or 13 seasons or something.
Yes, I think there's I'll tell you what, girl. I got to about season 8, and it was one of those things. Now, take this with a grain of salt, okay? But, sometimes people are like, oh, it really jumped the shark around season 7. And normally, maybe just because I'm a trash can, I'm like, well, I didn't even notice. But I'll tell you what, girl, there is a point where it stopped being funny to me.
Huh.
Yes, and I did not finish. I was loving it so hard, and then something happened, and I was like, nope, I'm not spending my life watching this show. And I sure enough stopped. And it's just a few seasons past where you are.
Well, it honestly would be a relief to quit watching it because it's like so much.
Yeah.
But it is a really good show to watch like right before bed because it's like funny and it's really short and it's just like it's like low stakes. So it's a good like transition show.
How you gonna say it's low stakes when Peggy be stealing children from Mexico?
She did. She just did that not that long ago. That was hilarious. She's
oh my God,
so racist and stupid.
Yes, Peggy Hill. I think Peggy Hill's one of oh my God, I got so excited I couldn't talk. She's one of the most iconic characters to me from like animated television. I think she's such an amazing and easy to hate character, but then every once in a while something goes wrong and she starts to cry and she's like, Hank, and I cry for her because she's not mean, she's just a fucking idiot,
Classic. So yeah, good shit on Hulu.
Mm-hmm. And I'm with you on Inuyasha. I'm not always a anime fan, but yeah, we watched the shit out of that in high school, and it was very enjoyable.
Yeah, it's really good. So check out Inuyasha, all up in Hulu.
Well, I've got kind of a strange plug this week. I wish I had known about this when we did our Stranger Things season 3 episode, because this is Stranger Things adjacent.
Ooh.
But hot ass Dacre Montgomery, who plays Billy in Stranger Things, he has a podcast. Yes, but girl, it is not what you think it is. It is only, I think, 6 or 7 episodes long right now. And it's not like an interview podcast. It's not a talk podcast. It is his beat poetry set to music.
Whoa.
Yes. And now you know how beat poetry is. You want to make fun of it. You hear someone's beat poetry and you're like, girl, that shit. But then you hear like some of Allen Ginsberg or Jack Kerouac's poetry. You're like, girl, this sucks too. And that's just kind of beat poetry. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not saying Dacre Montgomery's poetry is bad, but I am saying it's unexpected. And his podcast is called DKMH. So D like Dumbledore, K like Crumb. Well, that's not a good one because normally that starts with C. What's a good Harry Potter thing that starts with K?
Sure, but it also starts with a C sometimes.
Oh yeah, that's not. Well, okay. K like kangaroo, M like Malfoy, and H like Hogwarts. DKMH. Look it up. If you think Dacre Montgomery is hot, after listening to his beat poetry, you'll either think he's even hotter or you won't think he's hot at all. And I'm interested to hear what people think.
Good plug. That's so weird.
Right? Thanks. Yours too. Maybe I'll get back into Inuyasha myself.
Cool.
That might be nice. Yeah.
And when everybody's done consuming all of this fantastic content that exists everywhere, you should be sure to like and subscribe Beauty and the Bitch podcast wherever you're listening right now or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yep. And if you want to write a little review, as long as it's nice and you spell all the words correctly and your punctuation is correct and your syntax is good, feel free to leave us a review.
Yeah, but mostly if it's 5 stars only.
Yeah, that's actually all that matters, girl. I don't care if it's 5 stars and it just says "you great" spelled with an 8 and 17 periods. That's fine.
I love it. Somebody please leave us that very specific review.
After you. You do. You great.
Yeah. And so when you're done liking, subscribing, and sharing with all your friends out there, be sure to check us out on every social media platform. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Beauty and the Bitch or at BNBcast. You can also find us on our WordPress blog, bnbcast.wordpress.com.
We're also on YouTube. Actually, we have every single episode on YouTube.
Okay, we're missing like maybe 1 or 2.
Morgan, that's not true. I went back in time just like Barry Allen and I fixed it.
He did it. He didn't fuck up the time loop.
No, actually, I'm the reason we have Donald Trump. I am so sorry.
You ruined everything.
It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it.
Wasn't, because it's just 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah, it's only 1 or 2 that aren't on there. Why did I do this? But y'all should also, if you just can't get enough of us and you think we're just the best, we also have personal Instagrams. Morgan's is at Morganized Mess.
That's right. And you can find Mickey at Parker_Homestead, where you can follow his new off-the-grid homesteading life that's very exciting and budding.
It is budding, and it's also full of shit buckets.
Really good shit bucket content.
Yeah. Everything that everyone asked for, essentially. I'm just trying to please over here, really, you know?
For the people.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Okay, thanks for listening, friends. Watch this or don't. I don't give a shit.
We love you, babies.
Bye.
Beauty and the Bitch. Do you have a home? Beauty and the Bitch. You look